we go on. Sorry, just realised that we've been on mute for a minute or so there. Not sure what happened with that. What was I on mute? Very strange. Okay, so welcome everyone. This is the Elite Tier. I'm not sure how long I've been on mute for there. I don't know why that was on mute on there. But anyway, we're here. And you've seen some of the drivers set laps already with 11.5 minutes to go. It's Frey Tuck who is coming up towards turn 9. And rounds turn 10 nicely, keeping it well within track limits, unlike what Looney Man did a few moments ago in the Haas. Into turn 11, Aston Martin just getting out of the way for him there. And into the penultimate corner, a tricky left-hander, turn 13, can easily lock up the left front, going in to that corner. Up towards the line for Frey Tuck. It's just behind his teammate, the Eagle. As Looney Man's coming in to the pits by the looks of things is Chaz Knight Rider coming up towards the final couple of corners here in the Ferrari. Now around the final, his teammate Ginge on the second row at the moment with that 117.066, and it's a 122.6 as he was doing a cool down lap actually, and then just keeping it within track limits at turn 1 there, using all of the curb he could. It did unsettle the car. That has become more of an issue for drivers since a few patches ago, where they decided to not leave the curb so generous really with cars going over it, so it's made it much more difficult for drivers to actually do what Chaz did. Finishing sector 1, he was up on his lap time, apologies I didn't catch it, and then he invalidates his lap just out of those corners. Got Hilly waiting to do a lap here, he's invalidated as well, but it is just an out lap. Not many on a lap at the moment. We have got Riley just under 2 tenths up on their previous attempt in sector 1. Now we're coming down the long back straight, one of the 4 DRS zones here at Albert Park. And now actually just slightly down as they ended the second sector, which is mainly just one long straight here, as Riley now comes up towards turn 11. Using all of the road, but it does cut in slightly when you start turning into the apex. So if you do turn in slightly too late, you do notice the track coming in somewhat. And just coming into the pits is Riley, so still drivers, 2 drivers still yet to set lap times. The old Git, one of those, down in 8th in the championship on 95 points. Just about to start his first lap of the evening. With 8 and a bit minutes to go, you should see other drivers coming out now at about this time. This is going to be sort of the latest we can get to get another lap in after this on a fresh set of tyres. As we've got the Eagle on a lap, haven't we? I think so. Into turn 13, there's that front left lock that's so common at that corner. Turn 14 over and done with. Now we've got to head down towards the line, hoping it's a better time than previous. It was 6 tenths faster. It's a 7th place start for now. Obviously things can change with 7 minutes and 40 seconds left on the clock. Spec Balg is on provisional pole at the moment with that 16.9. I was well off. I was thinking we might have been down to like a 15 dead here for a pole. Not the case by the looks of things, but Spec Bell is just about to start their next lap. and was just being a bit too greedy there at the apex of turn 9, and it cost him the lap. The Aston Martin's coming up on him quite quickly here. It's Disco. Will Spec notice the Aston behind? I think he's just going to come straight into the pits anyway, so it feels like he's not holding him up, but he surely would have done into turn 13. Probably not very happy there with the man on provisional pole. His Disco comes up towards the line now. Got 2 and a bit tenths to make up to get on provisional pole. It was a 10th up on his previous attempt. Just a second row provisional start for the time being. Hilly now coming up towards the final few corners here. And now around the final corner, up towards the line. It's going to be a 117 just, 117.2. It's 6th fastest at the moment as Chaz has gone on to provisional pole by exactly half a tenth. As Jazz Hoy, I think, has just completed a lap there, 15th fastest for them. And then McLaren teammate almost double the places up on where they are at the moment, down in 15th place. So a lot of drivers in the pits. It's a common occurrence at this point in the session, though Looney Man is now out on the racetrack. His species. I'm still butchering people's names, so I do apologise. But out on the lap at the moment. Species. It's got to be species, right? Anyone who's watching whose names I'm butchering, put them in the comments. I've got the comments up from time to time. So he's just going to do another lap here. No, because they've run out of fuel. But they have got time to get back in and get back out again. The majority of the field in the garages. We've got one man on a flying lap, but it's the Welshman of Looney Man in the American Haas coming through turn 3 and then around turn 4 and using all of the road on the outside as we pass the Olympic Stadium, or the Athletic Stadium should I say, on the right hand side. Just along this long bit of roads where of course this was changed here, where they got rid of what used to be a couple of car parking spaces as they used as a right and a left hander, which used to be turns 8 and 9, and all the man's around and locks up all the tyres to try and get it stopped. That would have ruined a set. Well, the time is we've got the yellow flags up, so he just lets his teammate through. As Prof's about to start his final lap. And we've got 2 minutes and 45 seconds. I don't think it's enough for him to get back and get back out again. Species coming through the final few corners of the lap in sector 3. Pretty much used up all the battery already, with still a few corners to go and a long few hundred meters towards the timing beacon for the end of the lap. He was up by 0.17 of a second there, but still it stays down in 16th as the majority of the field are now out on the track. The 19 of the 20 drivers that we have to start this evening. Well, potentially we might have a latecomer, but for now we've got 19 qualifying, and that's all there will be now if we do have someone who joins us late, as we've got a big queue of cars forming up to start their final attempt. Is Riley on a lap here, or are they just trying to catch up to the back of the queue? Feel like they aren't on a lap. And then we've got the Aston Martin, who seems to think there was no need to get out of the way. But I think Riley is just going to start another lap here. I don't know why they're wanting to get to the front. They're using a lot of their tyres to do so. So we've got some out of sync here. We've got some, I believe, who are on their final laps, and then others who are just starting their final attempts. And Riley was just starting a final lap. We've got the two Aston Martins very close together with 40 seconds left on the clock. We've got a big queue in that final sector. With Max, I believe, the last driver who will be starting. You can see there vigorously moving the steering wheel to get some tyre warm up. And I think he will be the last to start a lap here. Oh, there is Chaz, who is just started themselves. So we've got everyone on the track on a fast lap right now. Who is going to be the first one to see the checkered flag? It's not going to be Tall, because they have gone on to provisional pole and not seen the checkered flag. Ginge goes on to provisional pole here, 1:16.7 for him as we wait for the Haas cars. His prof is already crossed the line. We've got Fair Tuck, the next car up, and then a Mercedes after that, and that will be Riley, the next car. Fair Tuck only moved up one place as we're waiting for a stream of cars coming through here. Disc going into fifth, or staying there should I say, and only just up on their time. Old Git was down on their previous attempt as Wiggy comes across the line here, and here comes Hilly after that, and then the other McLaren after them of Jazz, who goes 14th fastest and 1.5 tenths up on their previous attempt. And we wait for a couple more. Royal Rumble to the line now, stays 17th fastest and was down on their previous attempt. The Eagle gets a second row start here with a fourth place, or does he? As it's a Ferrari 1-2 here in Melbourne for the start of the Australian Grand Prix. It's Chaz Knight Rider on pole. It's Ginge alongside him. The Scuderies line out the front row in Melbourne. So while we wait for the start of the race, of course there will be a formation lap as we usually have. Mercedes not doing brilliant in qualifying there, 8th best for them starting. The Red Bulls, same again really, they're starting 12th and 13th for Winsworld and Wiggy. And the other Mercedes as well, as I said, they're both down the order. Not a brilliant start for them. So this could be some of you guys' first time to the channel, please make sure you subscribe. Obviously, you're watching the 6th round of the season in the elite tier on Power Grid Racing. We're just going to put the standings up on the screen again, just to remind you of what is going on with that situation in the standings. Of course, we've got Ginge up there in the standings on 138 points, but almost 100 points ahead is Milan, but this would be a good starting point for Ginge. Knight Rider as well down in 4th, so those two quite high up in the standings at the moment. Keep an eye out for the two Haas cars as well, Prof and Looney Man, 5th and 9th for them in the drivers' standings. Haas in 3rd place in the constructors, as you can see there. So we get underway with the formation lap, and we put the wrong thing on. There we go. And we get underway with the formation lap. We'll see what drivers are on what tyre, as I pick up the wrong PlayStation remote there. So have a quick look at that. We'll get rid of that. We'll get that up on the screen. It's all mediums and hards throughout. No one on the soft tyre, and that's kind of what the strategy says it's going to be. It's a 2-stop or a 1-stop, more likely to be a 2-stop, medium hard, but I feel like we will see more of those medium hard tyre strategies today, or vice versa, of course. That is what I think will probably happen. I don't think drivers will want to opt to do a 2-stop strategy here today if they can help it, but we'll have to wait and see, of course, and see how it all plays out later on. Only 5-6 drivers on the hard tyres, 13 drivers on the mediums, so just over double the amount of drivers on that medium tyre to start off with. So, and as I said, no one opting to go for the softs, but the strategy does suggest that the soft tyre wouldn't be a good race tyre to start on either. And of course, having short qualifying, that also becomes a factor in it as well, because you use all of your tyres rather than knockouts where you have some left for a potential later on use. So everyone lining up on the grid now, as you can see, as we get ready to get started. We're going to have a horrible camera angle as we do after a formation lap, but it's nice to get the formation lap back again. We didn't see it very often at all on F1 23 as we wait for Riley to catch up and get themselves lined up on the grid in the final row, and the final spot on the final row, as we have only got 19 of 20. We've got Frey Tuck, who has been disqualified and pushed back in the box, and that is going to help Riley at the start. We're right on board with the pole sitter for the lights. As we wait for those lights, we've got 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5 red lights. And we're away here in the 6th round of the season, Australia in the elite tier. And Chaz gets a very, very good start. Ginge slightly bogged down as we go down into turn 1, but he holds on to that 2nd place for now. The Alpine of Spec and Tall is in 4th place. They were fighting through turns 1 and 2 as Max sends it to the inside and gets past. Eagle has lost 1 place at the start. Disco up a position as we exit the 1st sector into sector 2 proper, as turns 6 and 7 have now been dealt with. Turn 8 as well, just that long right-hander being turn 8. Here is Ginge trying to close in on Chaz ahead of him as we go through the fast chicane of turns 9 and 10, the fastest chicane on the Formula 1 calendar, and Spec comes up to the rear of that Ferrari as Ginge pulls to the inside there, trying to put off his rival ahead, teammate and rival ahead, or maybe just defending to the driver behind a bit aggressively and a bit prematurely as well, as we go on to lap 2 around the final corner of this first lap. And on to that lap 2, Chaz of course will take the fastest lap, as they always do, as we go down into turn 1. Not much separating the top 10 as you can see, after the end of the first lap, the pace very, very close together as we have DRS enabled and those 4 DRS zones around this track, but of course only 2 detection points, which means you do get a buy one get one free offer here at Australia for your DRS as we go into sector 2 proper on lap 2. Chaz still leading us by 4/10 as Ginge will now have DRS to be able to attack, and I think Chaz is only going to be one of 2. Is it one of 2 that won't have DRS on this racetrack down towards turn 9, and Ginge up into the lead already, just shows how effective it is, and then he gets that buy one get one free offer and he will move further into the lead, he hopes, before they get on the brakes into turn 11, but that other Ferrari looking very quick in a straight line. As the Plevants fighting with Max over 7th place, and Max now fallen just out of DRS range. Was it enough? And then we've got a big collision in the midfield at turn 13, a load of them around here. We've got Winsworth and Jazz, who are right down at the back here. Jazz being disqualified for blocking the pit lane. Winsworth has been able to stay in the race as we have our first retiree or disqualification, the first driver out nonetheless anyway, as we go on to lap 3 proper, back to the front. The top 6 all within that 1 second gap. The prevalence has just lost out by a few tenths at this point. Not too sure, didn't catch everything that happened there at the final couple of corners, but it just seemed to have a bit of a ripple effect, didn't it? As we go into turn 9 and 10, yellow flag still flying in the first sector. They should go just about now. Some moves happening here in the podium places as Tool are getting past Specbal there for 3rd place as Jazz now leaves the session, unfortunately for them. I'll be back in just 2 seconds, guys. Just having a bit of an issue. Give me a sec. Oh, as I say that, sorry, I'll come back to that in a second. But Disco going off the road there and losing a few places. So lucky to keep it out of the wall. I think I've got it all sorted now, but Disc hasn't, has he? He's moved oh, sorry, I say got into the gravel, as we see Tall getting past Chaz here for that second place now, and Spec, the Prevent, and the Eagle all right behind them now and looking threatening as we go down towards the final corner. The first corner, should I say, out of the final corner. Not knowing my track today, am I? As we go down towards turn 3. Spec looking to the outside here. He's going to have that Williams ahead of him. He's got to think about it as well. Still tries to hold it there. Gets squeezed, but not enough. Has the inside at 4, but lost momentum and has to stay in 4th place. And then the Eagle is round and into the wall and lost his front wing as well for good measure, and will have to pit as his teammate goes past and he falls down and about to be outside the top 10. And Smack lost some ground to the top 2 as Ginge is leading us. As Fred Tuck getting past there, and Smack and Disco fighting it out as Fred Tuck gets a 3-second time penalty, the first penalty of the day. Ooh! Something's happened to Ginge as well. He's moved down into 6th place. We didn't catch that, unfortunately, as we go down towards turn 3. Once again, the Eagle has pit, obviously, for that front wing change. Gone on to the hards a bit early here. It's lap 7 of 29 now. We're looking at pit stops around lap 13. For the 1 stop, maybe a bit earlier for the 2 stop around lap 9, lap 10, something like that. Is Spec getting closer to the Prevents. And then Fred Tuck getting past Ginge, who's now down in 7th after leading only a lap ago. As Spec tries the outside line here, and it's the right line, and gets up into 3rd place. And not too far in the distance is the race leader, Imox Tool. Like I keep saying, if I am butchering the names, I do apologise. 3-second time penalty there for the old Git, and it's 3 drivers who have now got time penalties. As Riley gets past Disco down towards turn 1 there, as we go around turn 2 proper. Oh, it's hilly there. Got very, very close to the side of Disco. He's going to make the move this time, coming out of turn 10 on their way down towards turn 11. Decides to have the inside. They both have DRS though. Was Hilly slightly later on the brakes? Looks like he was. Is Riley having a problem on the exit of turn 11. That slowed him up and has put the McLaren right underneath his rear wing as Chaz comes into the pit lane. We'll have a look at that pit stop info. Looking at 19 seconds under green flags here, 15 seconds or thereabouts under VSCs or safety cars, which we have had none of yet, so keep an eye out for that when we're looking at overcuts and undercuts throughout this race. Kaz now down in 13th place. His Tool is starting to extend his lead as we get to around a third of the way through the race. His Spec coming up on the Plevance, and Windsworth getting a 10-second time penalty for speeding in the pit lane. It's harsh, but that's the rule on this game. It isn't the rule in F1, which I've noticed, but it is on the game for whatever reason. We've had some other changes for position there down towards the back. We were trying to find who it was, but I couldn't work it out, unfortunately. Ginge comes in now for a pit stop. Gone from the medium to the hard tyre for what could be a one-stop strategy, but it seems to be a little bit early for the one-stop, but I think it's still doable. I still don't think drivers are going to opt to do that two-stop strategy today. We're now just over a third race distance, and you're watching the battle for second place. We've got a yellow flag. We've got a safety car. It's Max who's out. And where's his car? In the wall on the exit of turn 7, if I am not mistaken. So a lot of drivers have now opted to pit. It was only one, Fred Tuck, who is yet to stop on the hard tyre. As I said, the one-stop strategy here was looking like, well, we'll put it back up actually just to refresh, looking like around lap 13, something like that. So we're a little bit early for that, but I think we should be back racing again, lap 13. So arguably kind of spot on for that one-stop strategy now, which I think most of the drivers would have led towards. Even drivers who have come in a lap or two before the safety car, they should also be absolutely fine to go to the end, obviously, unless we have any more interruptions like the safety car. So the safety car is at the end of this lap, as I say, getting started again, lap 13. So drivers should be comfortable to go all the way to the very end. We've got Fred Tuck getting us underway. He's the only one that's still going to make his mandatory pit stop. It would probably be likely that we'll see him fall down the order. Maybe not though, you never know. So as we start lap 13 with the Sauber leading us away, followed by the Williams, a tall spec in third, the Plevolent in fourth, fifth is Chaz Hilly, then Disco, Speechy, 8th, 9th, Ginge and Riley rounds out the top 10 as Fred Tuck already loses a place down into turn 3. It's going to be 2 places after we exit turn 4 as well. As we go through turn 5, the Plevolent is certainly looking for an opening to get past the Sauber as they get a 3-second time penalty. I don't think it's the first one today, it isn't. It's the first driver now on 6 seconds worth of penalties. The Plevolent's coming up on the inside before turn 9. As the old Git getting past Wiggy there, and then Chaz getting past the Sauber and then almost collecting the Mercedes after braking a bit too late here. And then Fred Tuck, has he almost lost the place to Hilly? How many positions is he going to lose before we cut the timing beacon to start lap 14? I think it's going to be one more place, is it? As Hilly looks around the outside at the final corner of turn 14. It is another place. He's down to 6th. It's 5 places lost, as he looks like he might lose another one down at turn 3 the next lap around, as Chaz gets a 3-second time penalty also. 4th, 5th, 6th and 7th all having time penalties. Fred Tuck the only one though that has 6 seconds. Looney Man there getting past Wiggy for 15th place as Ginge is around at turn 7, is that? Yes it is. Turn 6 and 7 he's gone around at, and now he's down in last place after starting on the front row. Disco getting past Fred Tuck there, who's now down into 7th, and I'm sure Riley's not going to be too long until he's behind him. The old Git into the wall at turn 9 and 10. It's a VSC deployed. It's Fred Tuck's opportunity to come into the pits. Apologies for still having the race strategy up. Didn't realise that was still up on the screen. And he will be coming in. Remember, he does get that discount. We'll put one more thing up on the screen. He gets a 15-second pit stop here under a VSC rather than 19. A little 4-second discount for him here. I still think that will leave him at the very back. However, though, and the old Git also has to pit as well. So actually, maybe not, as Wiki comes in. And medium tyres, and that will be to the end, I would presume. I'm sure they could do 14, 15 laps. And how long will we have this VSC for before we get going once again? And it looks like we've got going again now, as the Eagle gets a drive-through penalty for speeding under the VSC. Got caught out right at the last seconds before the restart. And the Eagle's now out, and it's caused a safety car. Where have they gone out? I have a horrible feeling that was... it wouldn't have been. I think that might be not so accidental where that incident has happened there. Safety car deployed, second safety car of the day, 3 interventions of any sort of full course caution. And they've all happened within the space of around 4 or 5 laps, Will everyone come into the pits again? No. There must be a couple. There must be a couple deciding to go on like the medium tyre to the end, or some thinking maybe the softs will go to the end now. But if no one started on the softs, I'd see it highly unlikely anyone would go to them. It's a set of mediums for Riley. It's a set of mediums again for Royal Rumble as well. Oh, that was close between Wiggy and Riley there as they're battling out of the pit lane. And the game deciding the order should have been reversed there. Riley in 12th place. Wiggy has to settle for 13th as they were fighting at turn 1. The only time you can race under a virtual safety car or safety car. So this should be the final lap under the safety car. I can't see it being out for another lap as the whole field has caught up at this point. Down to 15 of the 19 that started. 3 of them, as you can see, have been DNF'd. 1 disqualified for blocking the pit entry. That was Jazz. I think it came together with Winsworth at the time, actually, who was another driver who was now DNF. Not in the same instant, though. That was a bit later on. So just before we get restarted, I'll just say it again, you're watching... No, we're not, Joe. We haven't done it. We'd forgotten one, guys. So I can get that sorted in 5 seconds. There we go, that's better. Yes, you're here at round 6 for the Australian Grand Prix in the elite tier this week. You've been watching the Champions tier the last few weeks. Some familiar faces, as we've already said, Lilyman, Ginge, Prof, all of those guys been on the channel before, of course, with RTG TV, that this channel was formerly known. Keep subscribing to the channels. Everyone in the elite tier, please subscribe to the channel. Probably newcomers today as well, so really would appreciate it. It's been booming the last few weeks, and it's all thanks to you guys. We get back racing again on to lap 18. Sorry about that. We're on to lap 18. And Royal Rumble getting past Wiggy at turn 1 here. These guys all pit under the safety car. Actually, the old git didn't. He pit under the VSC, which he caused damaging his front wing or just completely losing his front wing. So getting into the latter part of the race, Prof getting a 3-second time penalty there as his teammate Looney Man is getting right behind him at this point, almost hanging off his coattails as we go into turn 9. Look at this, Ginge going side by side. He's going to have to go on the outside, and he does, and they both manage to keep hold of it there. I am not sure how they've done that, and both able to stay on the track. The overtake was going to be spectacular in of itself, but the collection from both of them was arguably even more impressive, as Chaz Knight Rider has come a cropper somewhere, going slowly as they come into the pit lane. Are they going to retire from the session as well? DRS enabled once again. Still feels strange that the DRS enables on the second lap after the start or a VSC. As we go on to lap 20. Vauxhall Tall sizing up a move here on the Mercedes of the Plevolence. DRS Open is going to be close enough, not by the looks of things anyone further back, going to be close enough to go for a move at turn 3. Doesn't look likely either. As we do have a position change here for podium places. Imrox Tall goes into second place, overtaking the Mercedes driver there as Prof overtakes his Haas teammate, and just ahead of them Speechy getting past Hilly for 4th place, 3 seconds behind the next place, and that being the first podium position up for grabs. Got a yellow flag again, that's at the back. Chance takes the fastest lap after spinning earlier on and then going onto a fresh set of tyres. Riley thinking about the move on the Haas of Looney Man, but backed out at turn 7. Not really one of the corners you should really be thinking about it there. It's very much high risk. Here goes Disco to the inside on Hilly, but then slots back. He was very close for a moment. His nose was certainly alongside. Going down now towards turn 11 as Hilly thinks about a lunge here into that 90-degree right-hander, but did he think about it and then back out of it? Or was he never going for it in the first place? It was more of a dummy move. It looked like it was on though. He was catching him at a rate of knots. Tail just out of DRS range. Was that in the detection point? It was, and that's why I was going to say they were falling back. Ginge off the road again. It's not for the first time. Luckily, misses the car as he goes past. Royal Rumble as well, getting past, of course, another name that you would know very well on the channel. As Fred Tuck retires from the race, that's in the pit lane. We don't have any interventions from race control. So, into the final couple of corners, onto lap 23, which Spec Bell has already gone on to. He's 2 seconds in the lead. The Prevalence does have a time penalty though. So it's Tom this time around, going to get past Prevalence as we've got a yellow flag again. That's Looney Man. He has had a spin. It looks things on his own. At turn 7. And he's about to be overtaken by Wiggy. And does get overtaken by Wiggy. Look at that, the outside at turn 9. I've seen it before, but not seen it for a very long time. Is Looney Man now going to try and take the position back? You'd certainly think so, wouldn't you? After being overtaken like that, he's going to try his own little route on the outside this time to get one over on the Red Bull driver. He certainly does. Back into 12th place. It was around the outside, and around the outside once again. Brilliant stuff from the drivers down at the bottom. So only a handful of laps to go. Hilly getting very close to the back of Disco here. Oh, the old get is spun here at the second corner, not for the first time today, and now going to be overtaken by Looney Man, Wiki and Chaz Knight Rider as well. Or maybe not Chaz. No, he will be catching him very quickly, but the corner gets to them. So, Spec Belg still in the lead, but he has got the Mercedes and Williams just behind him, who are now going to cause him some problems. The Prevalence, though, having the time penalty. We'll get them up on our screens. 3 seconds, 9 seconds for Disco. So he will fall down perhaps outside of the top 10. It's actually that close. Lap 26 of 29, 4 laps to go. As Tool goes into second place again. That's the position he should be getting regardless, but he wants to take the fight to Spelbeck. Said it again the wrong way around, don't I? Speckbell. Look at this fight now in the midfield for 6th place. Riley at the head of the queue. He is the only one without a time penalty, and then Royal Rumble has to go straight on, actually, to avoid an incident. And then Hilly gets collected. He's around with only just over 3 laps to go. It's really starting to boil over. Lap 27 of 29. Battle for the lead. It's really at this point between Speckbell and Imrox Tall, as the Plevolence has got a time penalty. He'll of course be hoping for these two to get themselves time penalties as well, because then they'll all be on an even keel. But the Plevolence obviously still of weather, they'll get a time penalty, or potentially now to get 3 seconds in the lead as he overtakes on the outside as well. We've seen that twice today. Lovely overtake again. Speckbell and Imrox Tall start fighting. We've seen this so many times where the two drivers without time penalties sort of considered themselves as the only threat, and forget about the driver who's got the time penalty, and forget about the fact they potentially have got the pace to get 3 seconds down the road. We do only have 2 laps to go though, so it's a tall order for the Plevolence if he's able to do that. He's got a second in hand at the moment, and he's going to have 2 fabulous final laps of this race. But if he doesn't, who out of these two are going to win as well? Because they're going to want to jostle for position, which in turn it is a catch-22, because it helps out the Plevolence massively. So the Plevolence still unable to get more than 1.1 seconds ahead. But it could all change on the last lap, of course. We'll have to wait and see how the rest of the race turns out, with the final lap now upon us. 1.5 seconds, going to have to double that by the time we get round to the start and finish straights. That's Speckbell. Goes slightly wide, loses a few tenths here. Is that his opportunity gone for the race win? Was in the lead for so long, and for some reason not using the DRS to catch up here. Is it going to be all used in these final couple of corners? Oh, it's a 3-second penalty. It's all up for grabs now, second place. between Speckball and Imrock's Tall as he goes up the inside, or tries to anyway. I think it's going to be a third place finish for him, and the Plevolent will be finishing in second place. That'll be a nice surprise for him at the end of the race. Around the final corner, the Plevolent is going to see the checkered flag, but Imrock's Tall takes the victory here in Melbourne, and it's the Plevolent in second, it's Speckball in third, and we just wait for Disco and the other drivers to cross the line at the end. Is Prof, and look at how close that was between the Ferrari of Ginge and was it the Mercedes of Riley, but they had time penalties. Waiting for Chaz Knight Rider, Wiggy, who's crossed the line ahead of him, finishes in 10th. We've got Hilly and then Looney Man to finish us off. So here's your final order for today. Tall wins the race with a time of 42.43 and takes maximum points. The Plevolent finished in second. Speckball finished in third. Fourth was Ginge. Speechy was fifth. Riley sixth. Seventh was Prof. Disco was eighth. Ninth was Royal Rumble. Wiggy finished in 10th. Just outside the top 10th, but with fastest lap is Chaz Knight Rider. Looney Man in 12th, 13th Hilly, the Old Git 14th, 15th is Fred Tuck. The Old Git, Fred Tuck, the Eagle, Max, Windsward, and Jazz all did not finish this race. Jazz was actually disqualified. So, thanks very much, everyone, for watching. We'll be back with the Elite here again next week. I think it's next week, and then back to the Champions tier the week after that. It is Silverstone next week, so make sure you check that out next Tuesday night with me. So, thanks very much. Thanks to everyone who's been watching the content recently and subscribing to the channel. Keep subscribing to the channel and like the video as well. It is much appreciated. Anyway, thanks very much. Until next time out, we'll see you next time.